Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss The Karate Kid from 1984, starring Pat Morita, Ralph Macchio, Elizabeth Shue, and Martin Kove, and directed by Rocky's John G. Avildsen. Now, before I get into this movie, I did watch this when I was taking karate lessons. Confession time, I did take karate lessons years ago. I haven't done it since, but it's because it's been years. But let's see how this movie goes because I remember it being good at the time, and I watched it a few times on 4K, so let's get into this and see how this goes. Here we go. In New York, New Jersey, in September, Daniel, played by Ralph Macchio, and his mother are moving to California for the new school year. And I like the opening score to this movie as it works with the adventure into California is in progress. As they arrive in California, Daniel is depressed about moving and arriving in California. He meets a new neighbor named Freddie Fernandez as he helps getting Daniel to the appointment, which happens to be upstairs, and the apartment, and the apartment needs some maintenance, and Daniel finds the legend himself named Mr. Miyagi, aka the janitor, played by Pat Morita, and a karate teacher for this movie series, I mean. Well, he tries to catch a fly in his part of the building, and I really do like these characters as they're just as relatable as in Rocky, as this is the same director like I brought up. Daniel plays with his friends at the beach when he meets Allie, played by Elizabeth Shue, and they talk until a blondie bully, I'll say, named Johnny comes in and bothers her as they used to date, and he harasses her and beats up on Daniel, Cobra Kai style. And I've never seen that show, Cobra Kai. Maybe I should after this movie, as that's the karate he belongs to, as everybody, including Freddy, abandons him. Even Daniel asks Allie to leave him alone for now, and these scenes work tremendously. And can I just say, back then and now, Elizabeth Shue is pretty attractive in my opinion, as we learn they all go to the same high school, and I like Daniel and Allie as a couple, and I hope they're together by the end of the series. I don't know, I never saw the sequels, so I'm kind of a newbie to the series at best. Allie sees Daniel trip because of one of Johnny's bully friends on the soccer field. Johnny hates the school he goes to, which makes perfect sense. Daniel checks out the karate station as he learns it's the Cobra Kai karate class. As he learns they strike first and have no mercy whatsoever, as the movie does a great job with the plot and script. Daniel rides home, and Johnny and his Cobra Kai gang trip him down the hill, and Daniel begs his mother to go back to New Jersey with him, while Mr. Miyagi overhears the conversation and wants to help Daniel bring back his bicycle all fixed up. And Daniel and Mr. Miyagi's chemistry work very, very great in this movie. At least it's gold for me. Daniel helps Mr. Miyagi cut a bonsai tree. I think that's what it's called. Forgive me if I said the name wrong. And gives him the tree he cut. And again, Daniel and Mr. Miyagi's chemistry is gold when they're together. Mr. Miyagi suggests to Daniel to go to the Halloween dance dressed as a shower, as Allie dances with Daniel as he gets an egg thrown in him, which was kind of funny. Daniel washes his head, and I say kind of. Daniel washes his head, and here's Johnny in the bathroom, as well as Daniel sets up clever trap to get Johnny, which was hilarious. I busted up laughing, as he deserves, but unfortunately Johnny gets him back until Mr. Miyagi comes in and beats up Johnny and his Cobra Kai gang and gives Johnny his own Cobra Kai medicine and saves Daniel's life and brings him back home to heal Daniel, excuse me. And it took 40 minutes of this movie to get to the plot of the movie. And this movie is a little bit too long, and I can't remember how long it took for the 2010 remake, but I have to check on that when I get to there. But it took too long to get to Daniel as the Karate Kid in this particular movie. They go to the Cobra Kai studio to talk with their sensei about leaving Daniel alone, and talks about putting Daniel in the karate championship as he requests their class to leave Daniel alone while training with Mr. Miyagi, as he has no choice but to teach Daniel karate and teach Daniel about earning the bully's respect after the tournament, which is an inspiring speech and the scene and message of this movie. Mr. Miyagi tells Daniel karate by first thing is first washing the car, wax on, wax off, and it makes sense as Karate 101 begins. And Daniel, as these scenes are acted very well, and the shots are very good in this movie, but the chemistry between Daniel and Allie is gold as well, and I love seeing those two as a couple. Daniel takes Allie on their first date and meets her parents for the first time, while Daniel's mother is there just drop them off at a theme park, I'll say, and go miniature golfing and on the rides. And I get the impression the parents do not like Daniel that much, but as the day ends, Daniel makes a big fuss over Johnny, as he's the jealous type, which makes sense, particularly when Johnny used to date her many weeks ago. That's a line from the movie, by the way. Mr. Miyagi trains Daniel a circle position, which makes sense for a fighting move reason, which makes so much sense. I'll just leave it at that. Daniel comes the next morning to Mr. Miyagi's place as he's trying to get the fly once again. As Daniel catches it, as he's a good luck, and Mr. Miyagi wants Daniel to point his fence like a punch that looks like karate, and Mr. Miyagi teaches a lot of things that make sense in the karate business, as it's 101 karate, I'll say. And this movie will inspire kids to learn karate if they wanted to in their future, as this is a classic family film about karate. Mr. Miyagi tells Daniel to paint the house left to right, and Daniel complains about the last 4 days doing some housework for Mr. Miyagi, as he tells Daniel about how he's learning plenty of karate moves with his firm hands. And this is a smart script of a boy becoming a karate kid, as it's inspiring. Daniel trains on the beach for balance, and Ralph Macchio is good at practicing these moves. Meanwhile, Mr. Miyagi inspires Daniel to do 1 foot on the ground and 1 foot on the sky, called the crane technique. And Mr. Miyagi breaks some glass of beer, as it was his first time. Was pretty funny, as I didn't know he could do that. Daniel is on the boat with Mr. Miyagi going fishing and slips Daniel in the water, which made me laugh hysterically, to be fair. Daniel waits for Allie to get out of the dance room and sees Johnny kissing Allie, and Daniel slips on some food and gets his clothes dirty and goes to Mr. Miyagi's place and sees him drunk while wearing his war clothes from World War II. And we learn a little about Mr. Miyagi's history, as he was married with a kid who were killed by, a drunk driver or Mr. Miyagi, and it was never said while driving. I think I'm getting this from the remake. I don't remember, but he gets into an accident, which is a sad backstory, as I felt bad for Mr. Miyagi, as he's the best character in this movie, with Daniel a close second. Allie, third best character in this movie. Because they're really relatable. The next day, Daniel learns the crane kick and balancing himself, and continues training with Mr. Miyagi on the punching and self-defense, and makes Daniel a cake for his birthday and gave a present to him Mrs. Miyagi made a long time ago, and their relationship is working very well, as Mr. Miyagi gives Daniel a car because he just got his license as a birthday present, and goes to his mother for a surprise party, as he goes to the arcade to talk with Allie, as she doesn't want to talk to him, and he didn't know she hit Johnny as he ran off during that moment, as he learns about it and apologizes and is forgiven, rather a little too late, I would say. I don't know, it's hard for me to say. And again, this is a long movie that could use some trimming down. They arrive at the karate tournament with Mr. Miyagi as it begins, with Daniel losing a couple of points, and eventually beats up the first opponent. And the song "You're the Best" is playing in the background as Rocky had "Gotta Fly Now" or "Eye of the Tiger." This is the movie's "Gonna Fly Now" or "Eye of the Tiger." It's that good. Daniel is kicking all kinds of booty, including some Cobra Kai bullies, while they watch Johnny kick another contender's booty and wins the fight. And Daniel goes up to one of the Cobra Kai men and asks by the sensei to knock down Daniel as he's insane. And by he, I'm talking about their sensei of the Cobra Kai. I forgot the guy's name now. Anyways, while Daniel goes back out there, and because Daniel doesn't want to appear weak with an injured leg, Mr. Miyagi fixes his leg, and Daniel goes against Johnny as Johnny's sensei tells Johnny to knock out Daniel as he beats him 3 different times. And Daniel has one more in him and takes Johnny out with the crane kick and wins the tournament and gets respect from Johnny. And the climax is beyond fantastic with a great message. I just love this climax. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 8.5 out of 10. This movie tells a great story with unforgettable characters, as the movie needed a little trimming, sure, because it's a little too long. I do relate with the characters, as Mr. Miyagi is the best one out of any of them. Daniel is a close second, and Allie's the third, in my opinion. This is a good movie to have kids learn about karate as a self-defense move. And while this movie is inspiring, it's sort of not quite as good as Rocky, but this is a classic for a reason. Highly recommended. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and I will be back next time with The Karate Kid 2. And until next time, use karate for self-defense, kids, not making war.